I'm Realtor Deb Tomorrow, and this is At Home in Bloomington, brought to you by Karen Russell, Ruoff Home Mortgage. We profile the people, places, and resources that make Bloomington, Bloomington, and help you live your best life. At Home in Bloomington. Hello, and welcome to another episode of At Home in Bloomington. I'm Realtor Deb Tomorrow. Joining us, as always, is the lovely Miss Karen Russell, best damn lender in the state of Indiana.
Hello.
Hello, how are you today?
I'm wonderful today.
Awesome. Well, we're not going to mess around today.
Okay.
Sometimes I do these introductions and it's like 10 minutes into the show. I'm like, I should stop talking and introduce our guest.
But going straight for it.
Because you know what? We have so much to talk about, and it's also before lunch.
Okay.
And what we're going to talk about today is going to make us hungry for lunch. So we're just going to need to get through it.
Okay.
I almost remember when I walked into the studio, and I was like, oh, crap. And you said, oh, did you forget something?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I had a little timer, you know, like the kitchen timers, the sand hourglass timer.
Oh,
right?
no, I thought you meant like the one that makes that
Not the ding. No, the old-fashioned.
Okay.
Like sand through the hourglass over the days of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
And I had that on my desk. I was going to bring it with me because I thought, okay, we have so many things to talk about. I'm going to use that.
That's pressure. That is just putting undue pressure on yourself.
But also because it's one of those things that's been sitting in my kitchen windowsill for, I don't know, way longer than it should. Mm-hmm. And it's one of those that has the tag on it. If you don't use this soon, you need to get rid of it.
You should put that...
Because, end of year purging.
Yeah, you need to put that in that saran wrap ball. It is holiday time, so we can put all that stuff in there.
We need to do that like Facebook Live saran wrap ball.
Okay.
Anyways, okay, I'm going to get off on that subject. But anyways, okay, so it was a kitchen timer. It was appropriate to today's topic. I failed on that front. So there you go. But I want to read to you the ideals. This is from the website of the company that our guest owns.
Okay.
And then because I read the first couple of lines and I was like, oh, this is like me. Okay. It really resonated with me. So here's what it is. He says, our hearts beat for Bloomington. That's me.
Yes.
In everything we do, we aspire to make this extraordinary town an even better place to live.
Yes.
I mean, how can I not love these people, right?
Yes.
That's like exactly what I'm trying to do with this show. And I was like, I'm stealing that. Our businesses are focused on getting better, not bigger. There's a hint for you. Our businesses. We love being an independent company that is unique to Bloomington, and we strive to shape our services to reflect the city's distinctive character. We want to be one of the things you love about living here and to offer an experience you can't find anywhere else. We also aim to be a force for good in our community. Whenever possible, we lend our support to the amazing nonprofits in the area. And finally, we're committed to long-term vision, looking ahead to how our choices will impact future generations. We want to leave a legacy of stewardship behind by promoting sustainable practices and making environmentally sound decisions that enable our city and our planet to flourish. Seriously, one of the best written, vision, mission, you read them and you're kind of wow, but this one, I was like, I get it. Totally get it.
Yes.
So, I'm going to steal that. But do you have any idea? Do you want to make any guesses?
No, I have no idea because that is like the epitome of everything in that is what everyone says why they come back to Bloomington or Bloomerang or whatever they call it.
Right.
So no, I have no idea.
Well, our guest is Jeff Mease, and he gets that. He is the Godfather. I'm making up titles. Remember how I was like, you're the rock star of the woodworking world. Godfather of the Bloomington restaurant scene. He's the king who has reigned over Bloomington pizza epicenter since we were even thinking about dorm pizza delivery. He's also just a damn nice guy too. So there's that going on too. So Pizza X, Lennie's, Bloomington Brewing Company.
I just had lunch at
Hive, One World Catering, One World Kitchen Share, Loesch Farms.
Stop. And now you get what you were saying.
I need the timer, right?
We do. Yes.
Oh my gosh. Welcome, Jeff. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
That only took me 4 minutes. Is that all under all these different businesses? And I want to talk about each one briefly, but I really want to hit on the kitchen share, especially because it's a really interesting concept to me. Mm-hmm. But is everything under the One World umbrella?
Yeah, well, everything is owned in partnership between me and my partner, Lennie Bush. Mm-hmm. We started the company together back in the 80s, and we were married at the time. We got unmarried in the 90s. I think.
Do you get tired of telling that story?
No,
because like every article you read, if you like Google, you know, when I'm doing show research, it's all about like they were married and then they divorced. And it's like I feel like if you bringing that up all the time, but you guys are
story.
It really is because it's sort of very reflective of your ideals because it's getting along and you know and finding ways to make things work and to make everyone succeed and everyone win.
Thank you. So that's it. So Lennie and I own this company and these companies, and we're just 50-50 owners and everything. And that's, you know, all the lawyers will say that's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
But it works for us, and awesome. It works great. And
for 30 plus, how many years now?
Any better.
We're coming up on 40.
30, this is year, Pizza X turned 30. 37 this year.
Oh my gosh.
I know, right?
Lennie's is 30.
Right. Lennie's is 30.
Yeah. Bloomington Brewing Company is 25. Yeah. They were BBC was the first craft brewery in Southern Indiana.
Isn't that amazing?
I'm just like in awe right now.
We got a couple new babies.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about those too. So just quick in a nutshell, why did you start Pizza X?
Well, why did I start Pizza X? I had a job at Domino's Pizza. I became enamored with their systems and the fast paced, and I loved pizza. I always loved pizza growing up. And so I got a job when I was in a dorm living in Red Quad, and I drove Lennie's car. Lennie had a car. I didn't have a car. And so I drove her a car.
I would be a pizza delivery guy, and I'm going to figure out the car situation later.
No, we would never let people drive somebody else's car.
Right?
It's just, you know,
right?
But that was the Wild West.
Yeah.
But, you know, Domino's systems were so much better than everybody else's systems. They ran circles around everybody. Yeah. And basically, I got involved with a couple young managers about opening a competitor. And in the process, one of them kind of tailed off and went to work for another franchise. And one of them and I opened this store in Crosstown where our original store still is. And it just has gone from there. Now we have 5 units. And we like staying in Bloomington. We like doing things here. It's kind of a different model. The old model of restaurant success was growing units, growing out, duplicating, copycat. But it's, you know, you live in Bloomington. There's not really another place you want to live in Indiana. I don't like to be on the road.
Right.
So it's just our growth has not always, there have been some things we've tried that haven't worked out, but generally what's always felt good is doing new creative concepts in Bloomington.
And so that brings us to, I guess I want to go ahead and talk about the kitchen chair at this point, because, you know, there's a lot of things in between that we'll come back and talk about. But what you're saying right now, that you have to find ways to grow. And if it's not going to be going to different towns, then you're sort of looking at what you have and how you can make the most of that. And that's a little bit how the kitchen chair came about.
Kitchen Share, we really started Kitchen Share about 10 years ago, and it started with a trip of mine to an ice machine when we were closed. Our commissary, we have a commissary, and our commissary makes things for our restaurants. We produce primarily dough, we slice vegetables, we make salad, we prep salad for Lennie's. And what this allows us to do is a number of things. It keeps the value add local. So most restaurants, when they get bigger and successful, we can't make the salad in the restaurant anymore. So they buy bagged salad base. You know, it's made in a factory, it's prepped in a factory somewhere.
Tastes like plastic.
Chlorine washes the whole thing. You open the bag and it's spoiled in a couple of days. It's Frankenfood to me. And we've always at Lennie's, we always thought at Lennie's from the very beginning, we're like, our salad says who we are. You know, it's like, that's where people get to see freshness, see that. So the commissary has allowed us to keep doing those things here and doing them the way we want to do them instead of buying what's on the market out there, which most people have to do. So it's a point of differentiation. But it's expensive. You know, you got to have a building and equipment and everything. And about 10 years ago, I was in our space getting ice on a Saturday because it's the closest ice machine to my house. And it was dark and clean, and I was just thinking, somebody ought to be in here doing something with this space. It's a resource that's sitting here unutilized. And not 2 weeks later, somebody wrote an email asking about renting kitchen space. And it was just so serendipitous. Mm-hmm. And so we came up with a price and let this guy come in, and it was a guy who was making peanut brittle to sell at Blooming Foods. And we didn't know how that was going to work out, but it worked out okay. It seemed to work. We had to get a little, but gradually, everything made sense. And in a few months, somebody else approached us, and then somebody else. That was interestingly like 2009, right after in all the economic problems. So flash forward about 5 or 6 years, CFC, our landlord, who was just a phenomenal landlord our whole time there, they said they weren't going to renew our lease. So we went looking for a place to buy to move our kitchen. And at that point, we had 11 other clients using our kitchen.
Wow.
Oh, gosh.
Not every day or even every week, but over the course of a month, there'd be that many different companies who were using it. And so we found this building to buy, but it was kind of out of our price range. And we're trying to figure out how we could afford it and justify it. And one way we thought was if we could build this model that we'd already been doing, but kind of make it better, actually build kitchen stations that people could be in. And so, because in our case, they were just coming in and using our kitchen. If somebody else needed to use it, it was just like everybody had to move over. Mm. So we thought we could do that. And then that's where we thought, well, we'll brand this thing. We'll give it a brand and try to get this idea out there because it's not a well understood model. Mm-hmm. So we called it Kitchen Share, One World Kitchen Share, and we built several thousand square feet in our kitchen to do it in a big a cook line that people share equipment, and it's worked out great. And now we have 36 or 37 other small food startups, food trucks, food carts using our space.
Which I think is a lot of people like you and I probably don't think about how that can get in the way of someone trying to start a small business, because there's different rules for, like, if you bake in your home kitchen, what you can do with that. Mm-hmm. Like, you can just sell it like at bake sales, right? But you can't turn around and sell that food to Blooming Foods. You have to prepare the food in a health board certified kitchen. Right. And so that's a showstopper for a lot of people. And so I love this idea of sort of giving people an opportunity to see if they can make their dream work. We had talked the other day a little bit because I went over and had a tour of the kitchen space. And I said, do you give advice to people? Because, you've got 37, 38 years, or more in the business. And so is that something that they get on the side for free?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We've tried doing some organized curriculum. Oh, yeah. But nobody,
it's herding cats with
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. But I find I can add value just by asking questions. Mm-hmm. I'll wander down if I've got extra time, which I haven't had much extra time the last couple of years. But I can kind of project myself into retirement and go, I can just go in there. Yeah. I'm just going to wander around, ask people questions, figure out how to help them solve problems.
Yeah. So the majority of your people, are they selling in local stores and can you give us a sampling of who?
Sure. So there's a number of mobile food operations. Okay. That's certainly the highest one. Then there are people who are doing a small scale production, like, popcorn, mm-hmm. Virginia Guthrie, mm-hmm. Lucky Guy Bakery, mm-hmm. Has been with us since. They're the only one left of who has moved over from our original. Big Cheese food truck, a number of the food trucks, mm-hmm. Peely's Party Taco, mm-hmm. There's a number of barbecue guys.
Never even thought about, like, in my mind, you pass those food trucks mm-hmm. downtown on Kirkwood or Walnut, and I don't even think twice about where that food was prepped.
Right.
Yeah. I don't even know. I don't know why I'm like, I need.
And I'm sure some try to do it in their truck, but it's just much more, I think, efficient with your time and efforts to do it in a larger kitchen on a larger scale.
Yeah.
And not only is it kitchen equipment that they have available, but then there's storage as well.
Oh, okay.
And talk a little bit about your pricing structure, just because I think that's really interesting.
Yeah. Well, as these things. People at that scale, there's just no money in it. I mean, people are just scraping by and figuring out how to do it. And there's no extra money. So pricing, I think, is really a critical issue. a lot of these, as I look at them around the country, there are several hundred of them that have popped up over the last 20 years. And even here,
Middleway House
had started one, and everything was donated, and it was a not-for-profit, but it just never got off the ground for various reasons. We're a for-profit company, obviously, but we've built this, I think, in such an intelligent way, and we operate it in an intelligent way. And our prices are about half of what I see out there, mostly around the country. Half for what we charge for storage and time. People pay for time in the kitchen. And the reason is because we're doing it sort of as an add-on to our main business. And so our guy who runs our commissary, he manages kitchen share in 20% of his time. And we've added a little bit on. It's sort of like I tell people sometimes, you'll appreciate this. People say, how do you get into real estate? Well, what you should do is you buy a duplex, live in half, and rent the other half. And that way you're right there. You see what's going on. You're tightening up your thing. Well, you're living in a little less than maybe you could. But that's how you start in real estate. Yeah. And it's sort of like that for us. We've just added on to it a little bit extra. We're using our time, and we're creating value for these guys who we are. A lot of places around the country, time in kitchen starts at right around $30. Ours starts at $14. But ours goes down. We decided after about a year, we saw our biggest clients using a lot of time, and the rents were getting pretty expensive, we thought, with that extra time. Well, our costs weren't. Our costs are almost entirely in overhead. So we said, hey, why don't we make it so instead of charging people $14 an hour, we'll charge them $14 an hour for the first 20 hours and then lower. So our next 20 is 11, our next 20 is 9. So the prices go down as people use more hours. And that's a help to them for sure.
So we're going to take a break. When we come back, I want to talk a little bit about some other things that are going on at Kitchen Share. And then I also want to talk about all the other things you have going on and how exhausted you are right now.
Okay.
Hopefully you've got a little break coming up soon, because the past 3-4 years have been crazy.
Yeah, 5 years has been a lot of building for us.
A lot of crazy growth. So I'm excited to kind of share about that too. So stick around. You are at home in Bloomington.
Hi, this is Karen Rastel with Ruoff Home Mortgage. Did you know that you can often save money by purchasing your own house instead of paying rent? There are a lot of perks in owning a home of your own. So contact me today at 812-606-7653 so I can help you invest your hard-earned money for yourself instead of your landlord. Ruoff Home Mortgage is an Indiana corporation licensed by the Indiana Department of Financial Institutions. This is not an offer for extension of credit or a commitment to lend. All loans must satisfy company underwriting guidelines. Equal housing lender. NMLS number 141868.
This is your Real Estate Realist. Practical advice on buying and selling real estate based on my experience closing over 800 home sales. You may have read that there is a real estate shortage in some areas, not enough homes for people who are wanting to buy. This seems to be true for Monroe County, especially when it comes to affordable homes. In many price ranges, homes are selling for well over list price. As a result, one strategy for buyers is to explore some areas that you haven't previously considered. I have clients buying right now in Greene County, Owen County, Lawrence County, and Morgan County, mostly because of affordability issues. Many of those communities can be vibrant communities with sometimes different but awesome characteristics. So maybe your life will take you in a direction that's a little different than you thought. Here are some ideas to practice living in an area you hadn't considered. Number 1, do the drive to and from your usual places, work, church, friends. Do them several times. The first time driving will always seem the longest. Number 2, if you have to get up earlier to go to work, try that out for a few weeks. If you anticipate a 20-mile drive to work, map out a route from your current home that will go the same distance. Get up earlier and see how that impacts your mornings. Number 3, live in an Airbnb in the new location for a week while going about your normal activities. The money you spend may be well worth feeling confident with buying a home in an area you hadn't considered. Number 4, talk to people. Go to events, get involved, check out their Chamber of Commerce and Visitors Bureau. And number 5, work with a realtor who knows that area. I help people buy and sell in Greene, Owen, and Lawrence County, as well as Monroe. I can connect you with resources to help you learn more about the areas you're considering. For more information on what it's like to live in Greene and Owen counties, listen to my Real Real Estate Today podcasts number 92 and 93. You can find it on iTunes, my YouTube channel, and at www.athomeinbloomington.com.
My name is Brittany, and Deb Tomorrow is my realtor. She helped me buy my first home. I enjoyed working with Deb because she was patient, thorough, and made the experience fun. Deb should be your realtor too. And now back to the show.
Welcome back to At Home in Bloomington. We are talking with Jeff Mease, who is the king of the One World Empire. And before we get back to that, I do want to throw back to episode 21 of At Home in Bloomington. I think we're about on episode 50. I'm not even sure what this is, 3, 4, something like that. I'm pretty proud of that. That's a lot.
It is a lot. And I feel bad that I'm
there.
not keeping track of all of them. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't have the numbers in my head right away. But anyways, episode 21, At Home in Bloomington, when we spoke with Wonder Lab.
Yes.
I wanted to mention them because they actually use some of this space. And the kitchen share building is, 1,000,000 trillion square feet. That's just a rough realtor estimate. But they use some space in there. So I thought that was sort of a fun connection. I always love when guests connect with each other,
Absolutely.
Are connected. But also Deal of the Century.
Right.
You remember how we were hitting on that with buy a membership to Wonder Lab, and it's good for entry into something like 290 different science centers and museums across the country. And we did the math on that show. If you took a weekend trip to Chicago, you'd save something like $400 or $500 on museum entries and things like that. So, Deal of the Century, which then also makes me think of the Big Ten Bargain. Which, deal of the century, right?
It still is the deal.
Still is the deal of the century. That was what we always got. And it was, the large pizza and those breadsticks. What do you put on the top of the breadsticks? It's just garlic salt?
Just garlic salt.
Can I just want to eat the top of the breadstick off like a corn on the cob? That's like how I eat the pizza.
See, yeah, well, I'm not a pizza person, and Jeff was talking about how he's always loved pizza. I know, I eat pizza, don't get me wrong. I'm the breadstick person.
Oh, okay.
But yeah.
What's your sauce?
Just the nacho cheese sauce.
You got nacho cheese and tomato sauce, a little double dipping.
No, that's weird. No, that's weird for me. No, but if I ever see someone dip their breadstick in ranch.
Oh man, I know.
That's wild to me.
Do that.
I don't understand.
But in
ranch
college, that was a big thing.
Most popular, dipping sauce.
Yeah. Nacho cheese number 1.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's the best.
So what is, I was going to ask you this for each of your locations. So what is the best thing on the menu at Pizza X? The best thing that you think people maybe aren't ordering. What's the best? You're the owner, right? You're like, why are people not ordering this? Is the best thing out there?
We have a pretty tight menu.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot of hidden stuff,
Right.
We get at the office, we get pizza every Monday.
Yeah.
For like pizza, that's our pizza lunch.
Yeah.
On Mondays. And we're trying different pizzas all the time. And I'll tell you the great sort of we have a featured pizza. It was a featured pizza, now it's on the menu called what do we even call it? We call it a cheeseburger pizza. It's a bacon cheddar burger.
Okay.
That's what we call it.
Okay.
And it's got a squirt of mustard on top.
Oh, interesting.
Now, I don't even really love mustard.
Karen has a phobia about mustard.
Hot dog. Okay, you can order it without mustard. Or this might make you like mustard because I'm not crazy about mustard. That pizza is so good. And there's pickles on top.
Oh.
I know. It's weird. And the first time I'm like, what are you guys doing?
Right.
Come on. And I ate a piece and I'm like, wow.
Is there really sauce?
Good. And there's, I think it's red sauce.
Okay.
Yeah. Super good.
I'm pepperoni, sausage, or whatever. Like, I'm not very adventurous with my pizza.
Is my favorite pizza, especially in the spring when the onions are really nice. It's starting about late March, April, May, June. That's the nicest time for onions.
Right.
And just yummy.
Awesome. So let's talk about, I want to talk about the pop-ups before we kind of finish with the kitchen chair, because this is something new, and this show is going to be broadcast after your first pop-up. So I'm hoping that that'll be a big success. But talk to us about what the pop-up is and how that came about.
Yeah, sure. Well, pop-up restaurants are happening in bigger markets. Restaurants are sometimes closed Monday or Tuesday, and and maybe the sous chef or some, and people are finding ways to use those valuable resources, or just, and they're common in other parts of the world where people come in and they'll set up restaurants in the street for a night, in Chinatown in Bangkok and they come in and just build restaurants for a night. So I love that ephemeral nature of that thing. Come in and do it. So we've got extra space, as you mentioned, at our kitchen chair building. And ever since we moved in there, I've been thinking about, we've got a kitchen here. It'd be great to do, have chefs come in and who want to do a restaurant for a night. But what really got us going is that when we moved Lennie's to the old Finch's space, and Candace Finch sold us all her stuff that was in there, we ended up with all this glassware and tableware and places. She didn't need that for the things she's working on, and we didn't need it because Lennie's already had all that stuff. So I put it in boxes, and we've got it. And now I can say literally to somebody, hey, you want to come in and do a restaurant for a night? We've got literally every single thing you need, including kitchen and plates and everything. So let's figure out how to do it. So our first one is this Saturday. It's Juan and Darlene Palacio, who are from Venezuela, and he's a great Venezuelan chef. And we're excited.
The menu looks to die for.
Well, I have goosebumps. I won't be in town this coming Saturday.
But they're going to do more. We need to help get the word out, because I think this is
it's going to be.
I think this is something that Bloomington needs. And I love this idea. So this is big buffet of all these Venezuelan holiday feast foods. Looking at, you're just like, amazing. Oh my gosh. It's $35. Bring your own booze.
It's BYOB, cool. Which is something I believe in. The laws, as they're written, don't allow people to bring in booze to little restaurants and stuff that don't have permits. And I think that's wrong. But it's as so many laws are, it's protectionist for people who already have a license. I think that the way we're doing it, we can do it. I think it's legal. We'll see if anybody us, but if we get pushback against it, I'm going to really work to just change the law. It'll be an opportunity to do that, because man, it would be such a boon for small restaurants. Think of these 4th Street restaurants. If you could bring in a bottle of wine, it would be a game changer for them.
For sure. Where do people find out about these pop-ups? Where's the best place to go?
Let's see. Facebook? Find me on Facebook. Find Kitchen Share on Facebook. Okay. And like that page. Yeah, we'll be putting it up there. We will be starting an email list, or they could sign on to the Lennie's email list. Okay. We'll be promoting it there.
Awesome. And then where is the Kitchen Share located?
It's off the bypass up the hill across from Harley Davidson, behind those 2 little hotels on the north side of the road.
Which kind of makes it, for me, it makes the pop-up even more fun because A, there's good parking, which, I'm a big fan of. But B, it's sort of this like secret little place. It's almost like, it's not like a speakeasy because it's big, but it's like you're going into this sort of industrial, it just gives it a different vibe. It gives it this air of mystery.
And, I think when you're driving down the bypass, you see the 2 hotels that are there. Maybe it's 2. And like, I always thought that was it. Yeah. Like that little road, that's it. But in our world, mortgage loans, people, there's a neighborhood back there, and people are buying property.
It's like a secret world back there.
Which is awesome. All right. So speaking of parking, let's talk about Lennie's. I know it's not about parking, but I'm sure you get this question all the time. So Lennie's moved this past year.
Right.
Out of necessity.
Right.
Didn't really want to move, I would be my guess, but it made it work and made it something really cool. So talk to us a little bit about where you are now.
So Lennie's moved to Kirkwood. I feel very, very fortunate that space opened up while we were looking.
To the sample gates.
So a popular restaurant like Lennie's, you really can't move it. It's just, so much can go wrong to try to, move a restaurant like that. And I think it's gone about as well as it possibly could. It's not perfect. It's different. Yeah. But a lot of people have said, it feels like Lennie's has always been here. And that's just great fortune.
That's awesome.
So, we used to have our own parking lot. but there was no other parking around there if that lot was full.
And it wasn't a big lot. Yeah.
Now we don't have our own parking lot. However, the IU lot behind us and the IU lot across the street behind the Von Lee is all free after 5 and on weekends. Now, I've lived here most of my life and never knew that. In fact, when Candace told me that, I'm like,
are you sure?
Yeah, that's like, I don't, why wouldn't I know? Wouldn't everybody know that? Because I've been downtown so often and she said, and the Dunkirk lot is free after 5 and on weekends. And what some people don't know are there's still some of those meters that are quarter.
Really?
Yeah, the one behind. Yeah,
you got to figure out which one.
Like no one can see me, but I'm like waving my finger. Yeah, the one behind Dunkirk. I forgot the other day, and I pulled in because I was headed to Lennie's.
It is,
and it's like I was like, oh crap,
the one that faces 4th Street right there.
Yes. Yeah. So, but no, I learned. My son worked for a restaurant. Worked for Buffalo's. And so he was the one that told me when he was in high school, the lot back there is free after 5. And I'm like, I'm not getting towed, but no, that's like the best kept secret.
Well, the other thing that, I say all the time is I don't mind paying, $1 or $1.50 to park for an hour and a half at lunchtime because I know I'm going to have a parking spot. I mean, it's easier to find parking. In the past, if people wanted to meet downtown for lunch during the work week, it's like, I got to build in an extra half hour up front to drive around in circles and try and find a spot and then walk and whatever. And so, I'm not opposed to, we don't get political on this show, but I will come out and say, I'm not opposed to, as long as the prices stay relatively low. I mean, $1 an hour. Okay.
I used to work downtown years ago, 20 years ago, and people would leave their car there all day long. Like you could never get anywhere, but
it's good public policy. I mean, I didn't have a restaurant downtown and I was supportive of the meters, and I still would be.
Yeah. So has the menu changed at all with the Lennie's move, or is it pretty much the same?
No, only to the fact that we now have this fabulous wood-fired oven that Candace built 13 years ago. And so we've started making thin crust, pizzas that we cook on the deck of the oven. Our pizza has always been cooked in a deck oven, but in a pan. And so so that's been a neat change that we just slipped right into. And the pizzas are fantastic. We love it. Now that's most of what we're selling are the thin crust pizzas.
Oh, I'm going to have to try that.
So there's that. And I think as we go along, we'll develop more stuff to utilize that oven because we've got to keep that oven going 24/7 anyway. Yeah. Which makes it really warm and beautiful in the wintertime. But now our wood cost is significant and the cost to just manage that. But so we go through about almost a rick a week.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
It's about $100 a week. Yeah. Almost. Yeah.
That's a lot. Yeah. Okay. Then in conjunction with Lennie's, you have Bloomington Brewing Company. In my head, those are conjoined. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but I guess because they were over in that location together.
Yeah, right. The brewery was next to Lennie's, so that made Lennie's a brew pub effectively. And when we opened a larger facility about 10 years ago on the west side so that we could start doing some small scale bottling, then it was kind of always somewhat of a challenge to run these two breweries at once. They're different systems and everything is always, if you got one of something, it's always over there, instead of over here.
Right.
So it's been kind of nice, putting our small brewery together with our larger brewery. It's been for the brewers, the guys running the thing. It's been a nice thing for them. We lose the, on-site brewing,
right.
But that's costly and expensive real estate.
So where can people get besides obviously Lennie's, where can people get the Bloomington Brewing Company?
We're on draft at a couple dozen other bars and restaurants around Bloomington. We've gotten a lot of support over the years. Places like Buffalo's, Trojan Horse, Nick's, even Olive Garden has our beer. Wow. BJ's sometimes has it. We're on a lot of places. And then we're also at Big Red.
Okay. So people can buy it.
Cans and bottles.
Okay.
Large format bottles.
Okay. And how many different kinds of beer do you have?
We make about a dozen different kinds, typically that are on draft at Lennie's. But in packages, we've got just a few. We have 3 in cans and 3 in bottles.
Because that's not a huge I guess it's focused, but it's not a huge focus. I mean, it's just part of a cog in the wheel
of our company.
Yeah.
You mean? Yeah. Breweries, well, like I said, we were one of the first in the state. I was very involved in changing the law, writing the Small Brewers Act in Indiana in 1993. That's really, every state had to change their laws to sort of make it work. Mm-hmm. A couple had gotten started in Indiana sort of through some loopholes, but it was dicey and the state was trying to close those loopholes. So I spent about a year of my life working on that bill and researching and writing it with legislative services. And it was a great experience. Now there's a couple hundred breweries in Indiana. Many have grown a lot faster than we have, but the ethos for me in the real true craft beer business is that you're local, that you're making a product for the local market. It's more expensive because breweries are so scale driven. Mm-hmm. The costs can be so dramatically lower. That's why right now consolidation, Anheuser-Busch is buying breweries places, left and right. It's smarter for them than trying to come up with the next Zima. Yeah. But I don't love the business of trying to, jockey for shelf space and all that stuff where you're just chasing growth. I think I admire these European companies that are, breweries that are intergenerational and hundreds of years old. And I think if we just, gradually keep making the product better, create beautiful packaging, be a part of the community that you become enmeshed in, that we'll do fine. We're definitely not going to get rich on the beer business.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about Hive, which was another one of your newer ventures. It's been open, about a year?
Almost a year and a half.
Okay, year and a half. And this is over at 10th and the Bypass by, as Karen would tell us, the Korean restaurant that you like.
Mama's.
Yes.
Yep. And so what is the concept behind Hive? How is that different than the other things you're doing?
IU approached us with this location. IU Foundation had this location and wanted a local company to do something interesting there. And they approached us with a very great lease, that we kind of, Lennie's the one always pulling
she's the numbers chick.
No, we can't do it. And even Lennie, it took her about 5 minutes and she's like, oh, that sounds like a great opportunity. So, I hit the road and traveled. I spent a week in New York and a week in Miami and a week in Chicago and just immersed myself in what was cool and happening. Ate a lot of food. Went to restaurants, but particularly fast casual restaurants. Okay. And my sense was that the way, for young people particularly today, they don't want to go into a restaurant and have somebody hand them a menu and sit there and look at the menu and then somebody comes and takes an order and it's too slow. Like they want more speed and to be more in control of I think it's kind of like how we experienced the stuffy, a stuffy fancy restaurant when we were kids. It's like that. So I knew I wanted to do counter service. Okay. Something counter service. So that's what I was looking at. And what I noticed, particularly in New York, was, chicken. Roasted chicken just seemed to be a super popular choice. On a lot of people's diets, if you're keto or, a lot of carb, things, it works. And I already knew because we used it, we've got this great chicken supplier up in northern Indiana that's raising chickens with non-GMO feed. And it's just a lot better product than the commodity chicken product that you find at Tyson in the grocery store or whatever. It's more expensive. But so we thought we'd build chicken as sort of a central part of that menu. And then what do we do with the leftover chicken? Oh, let's make chicken pot pies, chicken soup, these kind of things. So, so that's sort of the model of the restaurant. We wanted to be breakfast, lunch, and dinner and not stay open late. Like, staying open late has been sort of our MO. Yeah. But I'm getting old and earlier. So we decided to close at 9. It seemed really early. Yeah. But, oh man, it was the right decision because we're like, lunch and breakfast are the strengths there. People haven't really figured us out for dinner, but I like to go into Hive for dinner because it's fast. And
you've got, roasted chickens that like, I know a lot of people, and I do it, you run into Kroger and you grab a roasted chicken and take it home for dinner and you can have it for the next couple meals. Right. We always make chicken and dumplings the second day, but you've got roasted chickens that people can just run in and grab and buy.
Yeah.
That's obviously much better quality.
Better. Yeah, they're way better. There's twice as much money. But we've got stuffing and, gravy, chicken velvet soup we make and got a number of vegetables so you can get sides, mac and cheese. You can order that stuff online. We've got a grab and go.
Oh, nice.
So really, you can order online and we'll have it ready and we say in and out in 20 seconds because literally you could, if you order this stuff online, we'll put it on a shelf for you. You can just run it. It's already paid for because people have put it on a credit card. So that's a coming thing. I saw that model in New York really.
And I'm starting to see that around the grab and go thing. And it's odd to me, but I'm old. So I'm like, what is this? What if somebody grabs my food?
Yes, right,
that's what my first thought was.
Yeah.
But I think it works out, right? All right. So one more thing that I want to cover a little bit is what's going on at Woolery Mill, because that was another thing that you undertook over the past few years, along with Hive, the Lennie's move. This is why, you deserve a little bit of a break.
Exhausting.
I know, right?
It was exhausting.
Right.
I gotta tell you.
So what happened with the Woolery Mill? This is over on Tap Road, between 69 and the roundabout there.
Have you been to the Woolery Mill yet?
I have.
Okay.
Yeah. Not since it's been, I was with you.
Oh, then you haven't.
Not since it's been redone.
Okay.
Because it's closed in now.
Well, you're in for a treat. Not the whole thing, but the part on the east side of the mill. So we renovated that along with the owner, Randy Cassidy. And so we've enclosed 28,000 square feet. And we have a banquet facility that'll seat almost 500 people, so we're one of the 3 biggest rooms in town for events, charity benefits or weddings and this kind
beer
of thing.
Festivals, right?
Beer festival. The beer festival is still going on down there. And that's more in that old, massive cavernous part of the mill.
Okay.
We're not in that part. We're in the lower part with a lower roof line. Still got like a 16-foot roof. Cool. It's a spectacular room. Our food, we've been catering for 10 years. We've just as an off-premise caterer. And we just moved into Woolery a year and a half ago. And that was about a 5-year project of planning and building. And it's turned out really, really great.
So people can, if they have something smaller scale, if they have a wedding that's 120 people, they can still hire One World to do the catering for that.
Oh yeah,
the different locations.
And we can break that room up. So
nice.
So 120 is a fine.
Yeah.
We can probably about 100. It gets pretty expensive if you've got less than 100 people. But for 100 people or more, we can break the room into. We've got these very expensive. Fancy, pull across doors that are soundproof, so it'll make the room smaller.
Right.
Yeah.
So, thank you for coming on today. I feel like this is, I don't know. I feel like it's a little bit of a coup. Like I got Jeff Mease on my show. Like I'm like legit now. But if you're new to Bloomington, because some of our listeners, we're brand new to Bloomington and trying to learn about it. Pizza X, which was also formerly known as Pizza Express. So some of us still have a hard time with that. But Pizza X is certainly a huge part of, the Bloomington culture. I mean, everybody knows. So if you don't, first thing you need to do when you get to town is order Pizza X when on moving day. And then, when things calm down, you can go to breakfast the next morning at Hive and then you can have dinner at Lennie's. But these are all fixtures in our community. And I think, Karen, you always say at the end of the show, like, I didn't know that. So there are some things you've learned today that you didn't know.
Absolutely.
So even if you've been in Bloomington for 30 years and eating Pizza X breadsticks for as many, there are things, this is an important company.
Absolutely. And I honestly had no idea it was all under one major umbrella. Between Jeff and his partner, Lennie. I had no idea. I just thought, there's another great little restaurant here.
So please check out all their Facebook pages, the Kitchen Share Facebook page for those pop-ups, especially. You can ask to be on the Lennie's email list. I remember one time I emailed Lennie's just completely randomly. And I was like, what do you marinate your onions in? They have these marinated red onions that we always get as a topping on the pizza, and it's so good. She's like, it's just Italian dressing. And I was like, thank you so much for answering me. So now I always have like Italian dressing and red onions in my fridge because I put them on everything. But I was like so impressed that they like took the time to like respond to my weird, like, and share like, oh, no, that's a secret. You know, they weren't like that. So please, check them out. And, if you don't, know who they are, but follow them on their social media too, because great stuff going on. Thank you so much for joining us.
Glad they told you how to make your own.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome. All right. And we will be back with another episode. You are at home in Bloomington. Got a show idea? I'd love to hear it. And be sure to contact me for all your real estate needs and questions too. You can email me at deb@realrealestatetoday.com and follow me on Facebook at Deb Tomorrow Realtor. To contact Karen Rastel for all your mortgage needs, call 812-606-7653 or log on to ruoff.com and go to the Bloomington Center. Thanks to all the Bloomington people who make production of At Home in Bloomington possible. Digital guru Cynthia Hogan at Monster Digital Marketing for website design and hosting, and video genius Wes Lasher in the production house for engineering the show.